Welcome to Tradespoon. My name is Vlad Karpel. I'm CEO and founder of Tradespoon, and today we're going to have our weekly strategy roundtable discussion where we talk about current market conditions, what to expect short-term and long-term, and different sectors like healthcare, LA Lilly. We'll talk about AI stocks like Palantir, Cisco, Apple, and China. All the main headline news and what to expect. For those of you who are new, welcome. If this is your first live event, do me a favor, type in first. I also want to welcome new subscribers. This is my brief bio. I was Executive Vice President, Head of Technology at Options Express from its inception through 2007. I want to say thank you to all the subscribers. Because of you, I'm able to do what I enjoy professionally, managing and trading my own money. I've been doing it for over 15 years. Mentoring and teaching subscribers how to trade stock and options. And finally, I have master's degree in computer science, specializing in statistics and artificial intelligence. Disclosures are very important. Please read them. Trading stock and options involve risk, not suitable for everyone. I encourage you to visit the link on your screen, optionscreen.com, if you're new to trading stock and options, so you can understand the risk associated with trading stock and options. And you can always pause the screen if you need more time to read the disclosures. All right, before we get into trading plan, let's talk about current market conditions. So looking at the spiders, we're trading at 434 level, right? This is kind of the line in the sand. This week we broke through the main support, short-term support. I would say not short-term, medium support that span over the months of June, right? It's the middle of June, June 15th. So we broke below that level and we spent a lot of time, maybe half of June, half of July between these levels. Eventually we did break above that in July, right? And better than expected inflation data. And now we are back in the range. So we're trading the same level, which we're back to the breakout end of May, right? We had NVIDIA earnings, right? End of May, strong rally to the upside, better than expected inflation data, better than expected unemployment data, and you have a breakout in the beginning of June, and we're back to that level. And that also corresponds to the same level we tried to break back in August of last year, right? So if I zoom out and travel back, this was the failed rally back in August, right? Right before the Jackson Hole meeting. And Jackson Hole meeting is next week. So we're trading below 50-day moving average, which is bearish, and we're also now back to this upward channel where the market spent since October, right? So somewhere between 404, 50-day moving, 200-day moving average 411, and trading at 440. So short-term market is oversold. If you do look at the stock forecast toolbox, our model, today's support 440, 433, where we're as low as 433. So the model is doing good jobs showing where the support is, right? That's the previous August high. If you zoom out, right? If you zoom out, and look at 6 months predictions, for the months of August, model predicted 440 to be support, and we're already trading below 440. We've seen market overshoot, right? Because we're trading in an unusual environment, right? High interest rate environment. We haven't traded that for many, for decades, basically. So we do see market overshoot the model by as much as 5%. So for the months of August, maybe September, it is possible that we're already at 430 level. That if we break that level, we'll be at 420. But in both scenarios, whether we stop at 430 or 420, market is oversold. We still have a bull trend intact as long as we're trading above previous August highs. I think the bull trend is still intact. We just need positive catalyst, some kind of positive news for the market to at least start rebounding. So I'm going to make assumption that the 2 standard deviation move and the August high is going to be a good support, and a lot of it will depend on NVIDIA earnings, right? Going into NVIDIA earnings, we have the Jackson Hole meeting next week. I don't think, Powell is going to say anything new. So I don't think there's going to be anything fundamental, but NVIDIA is sitting at the key support, right? It broke through 50-day moving average, it's trading down, it's trading also 2 standard deviation move, lower Bollinger Band, corresponds not that far away from the reactionary high from the last earnings. So a lot of people already think that where NVIDIA is going to go is where the market is going to go, right? If NVIDIA has similar earnings as last quarter, meaning that not only that they will meet earnings expectation, but they will raise the future guidance, right? They went from, I think, from 3% revenue growth to 7% last quarter. If this quarter they say from 7 to 14, I think that market will find the bottom and will bounce back, right? So that's scenario number one, right? Right, scenario number one. We're retesting the highs or higher, right, based on the earnings. Scenario number two, if they don't raise it, they still say we're only going to grow at 7% like they said last time. Then I think market is going to go lower, right? NVIDIA is going to go lower. So maybe even close the gap. So that's the question, right? Scenario number one. Scenario number two, I don't think NVIDIA is just going to stay stationary, right? I think it will move a lot because there's just a lot of expectations, right? So scenario number one or two, very hard to predict that. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. So going back to spiders, let's just go through the scenario, right? Scenario number one, we bounce back to maybe 444 level, right, in the next couple of weeks, basically trading in this range, right? And then maybe going lower September as well, right? So that's scenario number one. Scenario number one, we range bound. We spent I think 4 to 6 weeks here trading in this range. There's no reason to assume we're not going to trade in this range again. Scenario number two, we bounce higher. NVIDIA delivers strong earnings. We have that resurgence of AI theme that Cisco delivered good earnings, had positive to say about additional revenue from AI, and the Cisco is at 52-week high. So it's possible that NVIDIA has something similar, right? Scenario number two, we're going higher. And scenario number three, we maybe bounce back short term, but maybe in September, end of September, October, we are continue to trade in lower and potentially retesting 200-day moving average. Scenario number three. So I think short term for the next 4 to 6 weeks, that's the scenario. Scenario number one, maybe NVIDIA just kind of not a home run, not striking out, maybe double, and then we trade in the range. Scenario number two, NVIDIA hits a home run, we're moving higher. Scenario number three, we're going lower. It's not all about NVIDIA earnings. I don't think Jackson Hole is going to make a big surprise, but we do have China, right? The headline news, if you open up a Wall Street Journal, Lehman moment investor fear China's Lehman moment, right? That the contagion from the real estate, from the shadow banks, from some of the trust funds, where they're not consistently, but several monthly payments where they did not pay, that this contagion will spread into Europe and potentially United States, right? Nobody can predict it, right? If you traded in 2008, you remember we had some, Bear Stearns went bankrupt, same thing. JP Morgan bought it, everybody shrugged that off. And then in September, when Lehman collapsed, then that's when the trust between the banks and liquidity issues started. So that is the headline news, and that's the speculation, and that's what drives the sentiment down, at least the short term, why the spiders are continue to basically retesting this level. All right, so let's just spend a little time and try to figure out, as a short-term or long-term investor, I think it's important to kind of determine, right? Because scenario number one, we trade in the range, right, for the next couple of weeks, maybe even months. Scenario number two, we break and retest, highs. And then scenario number three, we break and retest 200-day moving average. So 1, 2, 3, how many of you say 1? How many of you say 2? How many of you say 3? Martin, good morning. Jen, Jeff, what is the next floor for Microsoft, Apple, and QQQ? All right, Jeff, 3, TJ, 3. Okay, anyone else? Bill, Carlin, Claude, Don, Keith, Kevin, Martin, Skip, T, Tim, TJ, Vicus, Paul, Mark. Anyone else? 1, 2, or 3? Done. 1. Very good. Anyone else? Okay, so most of you said, we didn't have a lot of participation, but nonetheless, more people said 3, right? So that we will break through this level. That is also my opinion, right? So I go with this also 3. I don't think we're gonna rebound back, right? I think this, there's enough damage has been done that the top is set, right? I think 460 top is set, right? As we approaching, I would be a seller into the rallies, right? I think the top is set for conceivable future, right? For the next few months, maybe even few quarters. NVIDIA may or may not have a huge surprise. I don't have that, but I still think that short term it might go higher, but eventually we will break 3. Whether it's China, whether it's a downgrade of regional banks or large banks, but I don't think we're going to have a soft landing, right? That's kind of been my opinion, and especially if China has any kind of liquidity issues, this will be an issue. All right, but time will tell, right? Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen, or at least when it's going to happen. Right? We can argue whether this is going to happen or not, but the timing is very difficult. What else is interesting? Interest rate. It's all about interest rates. Today, I think interest, we have been trading similar to last year, where everyone was selling treasuries and everyone selling technology, right? With the idea that inflation is here for longer and the new norm is not 2% interest rates, but 3% interest rate, that the Fed will never achieve its 2% interest rate, right? Not never, but not in the near future, right? So a resurgence of inflation and 10-year yield was at 430, knocking on the door of October highs, right? The market was significantly lower last October than it is now, right? So today, one day doesn't set the trend, but today people are buying treasuries and they are still selling technology, right? Even though technology is off its session high. So that's the unknown, right? That's kind of the elephant in the room. Is the new norm 3%, and 10-year and 30-year yield is going to 5.5%? I think that would be bearish for the market. The market will sell off. It could indicate contagion, right? Some liquidity issues in sovereign debt. And the strong dollar, right? So those are the two unknowns. Dollar continues to trade higher. It's rebounding, which is putting pressure on cyclical names, and yield is going higher, at least up until today. So that is unknown. We don't have CPI data not until September, and new PPI data. So that's something to keep an eye on. Crude oil looks like also first week where it's pulling back, right? So it looks like it broke this uptrend, and I think the next leg is down in crude oil. And Bitcoin kind of being a good proxy for risk taking, and we were dancing around 30,000 for many months on the Bitcoin level. We're back to 26, right? And kind of a sharp pullbacks 2 days in a row in Bitcoin. So those are some of the areas of concern and something that I would watch. All right, we have a few more people. So actually we split 50-50 between threes and ones. Now I have more results. Okay, so it's good. So we'll see what will actually happen. Question was where was this question? Jeff, what is the next floor for Microsoft, Apple, and QQQ? Apple. I mean, this is a pretty bearish price pattern, pretty extremely oversold, right? We talked about ABC pattern, right? So you have A, you do have a short-term consolidation, and then B, right? Where does C? So where does the C ends? There's not much support until, I would say, 200-day moving average. Let's remove some of the noise. And it's already trading below August high, right? So August high was the line in the sand. It looks like we broke through that line. Let's look at 1 week. Apple did it was trading in a downtrend, right, last year. So that would probably be the next level of support, assuming that this is a broken level, right? It's been 2-3 days that it's trading below 178. So the next level is around 200-day moving average, which would be 160. And it also corresponds to November high. So assuming there is a follow through next week, then we're going lower. But again, it depends on NVIDIA, right? If NVIDIA strikes a home run, the idea is that it's going to pull all the AI stocks together, and most of the stock market pull back. So a lot of it will depend on NVIDIA, right? If you, but at least all the news aside, we did break through the August high to the downside. So 200-day moving average on Apple. Microsoft, Microsoft, Google, they're not going to go that far from each other, right? The price patterns looks very similar, right? Microsoft is dancing August high, right? It hasn't reached August high. Apple outperformed Microsoft. So next level is August high, right? It's sitting at the ski level from back to April of last year, failed rally. That's the first, but it hasn't broken that level yet. So same thing, if NVIDIA has a home run, it will bounce back at least to this broken level 325, right? If NVIDIA gets striked out, then probably 300 level is the next, which would be August high, 300 level. And QQQ, similar price pattern, right? Between Apple and Microsoft, it's a big part of QQQ, same price pattern. It pierced through April highs of last year. That's the failed rally in March, April of last year. And it's slowly moving toward August low. So if this level doesn't hold on NVIDIA, next level is around 335. If NVIDIA has a strong earnings, it will try to reclaim the uptrend. Any other questions? All right, so how do we help at Tradespoon? We have different tools. We talked about stock forecast toolbox, 6 months prediction, daily prediction, very helpful, right? If you're doing short-term trading, ideally you want to buy at 433, right? And if we do reach 441, 444, ideally you want to sell short. You see that the trend turned from negative to neutral. Model sees that we approach in a major support level at 430. We need an event that will break that level. Is it Jackson Hole? I don't know. Is it NVIDIA earnings? Not sure. Is it Chinese companies defaulting on its debt? Maybe, right? But you need a catalyst to break to the downside. And short-term market is oversold. So to me, until we break 430 to the downside, this is the time you want to maybe consider closing some of your hedges, right? So I close QQQ put. Let's just look. So we have services like Elite Circle, right, where you have access to all of my portfolios and trading. So I'm closing IWM put spread, right? It had almost double in price, right? So it's a significant move to the downside. And again, it's reaching support level, right? And actually IWM is turning positive. It's trading near 180, touched 180 today, right? 181, and trading at this line where it spent a lot of time, again, back in April and March of this year, right? If you draw this line, well, if you can see it, kind of where the red line is, right? The 50-day moving average on a weekly chart, but it tried to break through this level in March, April, wasn't able to do this, and this is where the rally started again after the NVIDIA earnings, right? And we stayed above 180. So again, 180 is a strong support for small cap stocks. We briefly, not briefly, we quickly went from 200 to 180 level, right? 10% pullback in a short period of time. Unless there is a new catalyst to push the market to the downside, short term it's oversold. So I'm planning to close IWM put spread. Iron condors, right? Idea of selling premium, right? This is Russell 2000 was more of a directional move, right? Momentum trading. AMAT idea is that volatility is is elevated. We are getting close to the 20 historical average. So we did make a pretty move from the 12 handle to 19 handle, right? So pretty sharp move to the upside in volatility. So you can take advantage of that by selling premium, right? Selling out of the money puts, selling out of the money calls. I did this on AMAT, was able to collect 30 cents on the put, 30 cents on the call, 60 cents on the $130 stock. That's 0.5%, right? Minus the hedges. I mean, we should hedge. So 0.5% premium on short puts and calls. That's kind of my goal. So that's another type of trade. I did trim SH, right? We talked about trimming SH. I trimmed QQQ puts and trimmed QQQ. So at this point, I had a lot of bearish positions, and I'm gonna wait, right? I'm gonna wait and see what happens with spiders. If spiders are able to hold on to 430 level, then I'm not gonna do anything. But if we do break below 430 level, right, then I can maybe add to some of my bearish positions, because next level would probably be either 420 or 400. So that's Elite Circle. And not only does it provide signals, you can enter your phone and get messages every time I trade, right? You can enter SMS alerts and get text messages every time I trade. More important, it gives you ability to participate in the morning bell and the closing bell, right? You can participate in morning bell, closing bell, and watch the recordings, right? It's not enough just to get signal. You have to determine position size, right? The most important and difficult task for any trader is to determine what is the appropriate number of positions to have and what is the appropriate number of, how much risk am I willing to take on my opinion, right? Whether it's small cap stocks or AMAT. That is the most difficult task. We do have suggestion in our guides, in almost on all the pages, we added to consider if you're new to trading and you haven't traded long enough, or you don't feel that you're a disciplined, confident trader, then I would suggest maybe 4 active positions at a time at no more than 2.5% of account value at risk per position. So risk management is extremely important, right? So that's elite circle. Any questions on elite circle? Any questions in general? All right. So in terms of portfolio, we do have premium portfolio. This is IWM trade, right? So once a week, on the weekend, all the models run. They're AI model. They learn, they train on the data. They see key support resistance. I review them, and there's a one trade using option spreads. You can use options. You can use stocks, right? If I'm shorting IWM, you don't have to use puts. You don't have to use put spread. You can just sell short IWM, right? So that's the premium portfolio. If you're not comfortable trading options, you just want stock trades, we have robo investor portfolio where you can trade robo invest, just stock trades. In terms of tools, we do have research tab, right? Part of your tools membership, seasonal chart, right? Very important tool, 85% correlation with seasonality, right? So basically right now, the current market, the current year, and the historical are moving in lockstep, right? We breaking down, and usually towards the end of the August, you do have a breakdown. Then you have a catalyst like Jackson Hole or NVIDIA earnings. You do have a pretty meaningful rebound, right, toward the middle of September when everybody comes back from vacation, right? Liquidity is low right now. Most people are traveling. And then when everyone comes back, you have another leg down into end of September, right? So I think something like that will happen again, right? Maybe NVIDIA earnings is good. Maybe we get to 445 or maybe even 460. Both scenarios are possible. I won't discount them. So maybe we get to 440, maybe we get to 460. And then toward, end of September, end of October, we retest to 100-day moving average, right? Somewhere between 404 and 420. So I think that's seasonality tools. We do have probability calculator, right? You can always go for spiders and basically get an assessment of probability, right? There's in the next, going into October, right? Going into the next 50 days, one standard deviation is 404 and 467. So we can retrace and retest 460 on better than expected news from NVIDIA and inflation data in China, or if it's worse than expected, we can reach 200-day moving average, which would be 404. 64%, right? So 64% of the time, market will trade between 460 and 404, right? And right now we're kind of in the middle at 430 on a major support level. So those are some of the tools, and you can analyze any stocks, optionable stocks, in terms of research centers, screeners. If you're looking for signals, if you're a disciplined trader, you have your trading plan, you know how to execute, you can always go to active trader and see bullish and bearish idea, either using stock or options, right? TJX model actually identified TJX, announced earnings. Not all stocks moving together in one correlation. TJX is at all-time high. LA Lilly is at all-time high. Cisco is at multi-year highs. So model is able to identify stocks that can outperform the market. On active trader, I'm looking for 1% target gain, 1% stop loss. On the weekly trader, similar model. It runs on the weekend, but learns and trains on the data, longer term trader, the longer term trends. It identified Cisco, right? That Cisco after the earnings is in strong uptrend. Here you're risking 2.5%, right? 2.5% target gain, 2.5% stop loss. I do propose to use multiple entries to do dollar cost average, so you don't risk all 2.5%, maybe you risk only 1.5% or 1% per trade, especially in a volatile market, since volatility is picking up. And you do have different strategies, right? If you see market is down, pre-market, we're down 1%, then maybe you wait for predicted low. And if you don't, if you see market neutral or higher than previous open price, previous close price, sorry, the previous day close price is the suggested entry point. But again, these are just suggested entry point and stop losses. The idea of these signals is that you're confident enough that you can make a decision, you know, if it gaps up or gaps down, how to do it. You just want to be consistent. If you're still not sure how to do it, you know, if the stock moves up, right? A lot of support tickets says, Vlad, you know, Cisco gapped up, it's at $55.13. Do I still enter? Right? If you're asking that question, right, then you probably want to be in the live trading room, right? You want to join live trading room where I can explain to you, right? But there's no universal answer, you know, because stock can gap up, stock gap down. Some people wait for 15 minutes, some people wait for half an hour. You know, it depends on your trading plan, right? And if you want to know my trading plan, then I encourage you to participate in live trading room. Kevin, thank you. I do appreciate your emails. Thank you. Yeah, I did look at them. I mean, there's definitely a lot of risk in the market, so we need to kind of take it into consideration. And you know, it's kind of make or break scenario for the market. All right, looks like we're trading at session high, trying to close the gap, right? So what used to be support for 36 is now overhead resistance. Any other questions? I do invite you, if you have time, to join our YouTube channel. Every Wednesday, we do have a live broadcast in the morning and the closing bell, so please join me at 8:15 and 1:55 p.m. And you can participate in live trading room. All right, any other questions? Okay. Also, if you are trading options, I am gonna, you know, sister company of Tradespoon, Yellow Tunnel. I'm a founder of both companies, but we do have an offer with Tradier.com, right? So if you do have options account, you trade in options. This company, it's a broker dealer, US based, FINRA, you know, with all the compliance, following all the compliance issues. I know a lot of these, some of these founders from Options Express days. They do have a special offer where you only spend $10 a month on options trading. If you're trading options like AMET, where you do iron counter, you could be spending $10 on just on one trade, right? So depending how often you trade and how many contracts, you know, you could be saving hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a year. So, you know, if you are active or semi-active option trader, I would encourage you to consider this offer and use this link to join Tradier.com. Any other questions? All right, so we talked about, let me just recap. So picks signals with suggested entry and exit price based on our different models. Again, all AI neural network models. That seems to be the most popular term these days. If you just want to trade spreads, we have Spread Trader, right? That part of the premium portfolio. If you just want to see my trades without any of the tools or signals, you can use Shadow Trader. We did talk about Trading Circle. We do have a learning center, right? Where you have a getting started guide. We have a learning center. If you want to know what cover call is or how to trade cover calls, you can look at the event recordings. You can look at the learning center. It has different guides. So I encourage you to review these guides and analysis. Any other questions? Right, if there are no other questions, then I think that's all I have for today. Or Trader link, yes. So Don, yes. Thank you for participating. Do me a favor, if you do open an account, just let me know. We do have a marketing relationship with them, with traders, so I want to make sure that all of your accounts are counted, and if you need help, point you to the right direction. So Don, appreciate it. I just gave you the link for Trader, and you can please use that link to open up account and see if this is something that is helpful. Bill, I'm new to your service. What would be the best swing trading system? If you want to follow my trades, I would say Elite Trading Circle, right? Elite Trading Circle, you would see both stock and option trades. So I don't know if you're a stock trader or an option trader, but you would see both, right? Like in the last 7 days, let's see. So IWM, AMAT, some stocks. So I did trade SH, but more option trades, right? Some of them are longer term, some of them are shorter term trade, right? So if you do like swing trading, like IWM trade would be similar to swing trading. XLE would be similar to swing trading. If you're a stock trader, you can just look at or if you participate in live trading room, you don't have to buy option spread, right? At that point, I actually bought Schlumberger. So I try to give you both examples, options and stock. So then I would use Elite Circle if you're a swing trader. And we do have monthly services and weekly services. Welcome, Bill. Anyone else? If you're not sure, again, what services to offer, we do have a concierge service. So I encourage you to give us a call, right? So Jordan, he's well versed with our products, with different pricing structure. We have monthly, annual. If you want to consider saving, thousands of dollars between, monthly plan versus lifetime plan, then this is the place to call, right? So I'm going to write this phone number: 312-625-0287. Give him a call. Even if you're not considering paid membership, still give him a call. He'll help you figuring out different products, free product that you can learn and just get familiar. So it'll be greatly appreciated. Bill, Don, consider calling that number. Any other questions? Remember, today is expiration also, so you want to consider closing all your August position, not getting assigned, especially as market volatile. So due to expiration, we might have large swings in the prices in the market, but looks like spiders almost closed the gap. QQQ closed half of its gap, and small caps are turning positive. ARK Innovation is turning positive. So you can probably see and value stocks, I think, right? Value stocks are positive. So short-term market is oversold, right? So this is the time to probably lighten up on your hedges and maybe even consider some of the long positions as we approach NVIDIA earnings. Any other questions? Bill, Claude, Don, Faye, welcome back. Jeff, Jim, Keith, Kevin, Martin, Patrick, Skip, TJ, Vikas, Mark, Paul. Any other questions? Jeff, has Meta broken through its 50-day moving average support? Let's look at Meta. Yeah, Meta is definitely below 50-day moving average. It's already below the earnings. It's very bearish. right? Very bearish price setup. It's kind of fallen off the cliff. So yeah, Meta is pretty bearish. And you can see most of the mega cap technology stocks like Meta, Netflix, same price pattern. The only stock that's still holding up well, I think, is Google, right? From mega cap technology stocks. Google is, even though it's below the session low from the earnings, but at least it's still holding on to most of its gains from earnings. So Google is probably one of the strongest stocks. Could China bring the whole world down? I mean, I have as much of an opinion as Wall Street Journal, right? But it's definitely weighing on the sentiment, right? And that's why Bitcoin is breaking down and yields are going higher because nobody knows, right? But everybody is concerned. Similar to 2008, everybody was concerned with mortgage-backed securities. They broadcasted it through 2007, 2008. I actually remember listening to the news back then and telling my friends, like, okay, if you invest in these mortgage-backed security, you probably want to lighten them up or at least call your broker dealer and see where you invested. And then there was some kind of a moment at some random time, black swan event. Whether it will happen or not, I don't think anybody knows, right? That's why it would be a black swan event. It's, the real estate distress in China is nothing new. People have been talking about this, I mean, as long as I remember myself, right? Probably like the last 20 years, right? It goes and then it disappears, comes back, disappears. You know, to say it's going to happen this year and not next year, it's very hard to say. I think eventually it will happen. I think eventually they will have a Lehman moment. I just don't know if it's going to be this year or once they invade Taiwan. That I don't know, right? Or some other, but it's a risk in the market. And right now it's at the forefront. You know, if it's a, Holmes, first page of Wall Street Journal, you know that everybody's thinking about it. Done. Thank you, TJ. Thank you. Okay, September 30th. Kevin, I mean, buying calls on X Steel, this is merger and acquisition, right? If it goes through, then X Steel is going to continue going higher. If it falls apart, it's going to sell off. I usually don't trade merger and acquisition. I think it's just like you're at the mercy of news and you have no idea, right? So I don't know. I personally don't trade them. Skechers, SKX. I mean, it looks pretty bearish, right? It is sitting at the support. Maybe I would just wait because its short-term market is oversold and a lot of indexes are sitting at the key support. I would say same thing. If it breaks through this level, right, one day is not enough. But if day 2, day 3, then I think you can, next level will be 47. Right, or you can short with a very defined stop level, right? Like if it jumps back above 52, you're out. But for now, it looks like a strong support. Any other questions? Looks like Spiders is about to turn positive. There is already positive. Okay. So at least the first test, Spiders survived the first down test of the 430, 432, 430, 432 level. All right. That's all I have for today. Thank you very much and have a great weekend. TJ, thank you. Vikas, Mark, Paul, TJ, Skip, Patrick, Martin, Kevin, Keith, Jim, Jeff, Faye, Claude, and everyone else. Thank you very much. Have a great day and the weekend. I'll see some of you at the closing bell. Thank you.